Do you still think about that person, or is it just the echo of the pain they left behind? Maybe no one knows, but you carry the weight of an absence, a voice that still whispers in silence, a name that keeps coming back, even when you try to move on. You smile at the world, but inside, you're still tied to someone who's already gone. Why is it so hard to emotionally detach from someone who's no longer part of your life? And more importantly, is there a path that truly works to overcome this without breaking yourself in the process? Stoicism, a philosophy that has endured for centuries, doesn't offer empty promises, but instead practical, deep, and transformative strategies to face detachment with strength, clarity, and inner peace. In this video, you won't hear generic advice. You'll be guided through a real journey with vivid examples, practical techniques, and 6 foolproof lessons based on Stoic wisdom to break emotional ties without losing your essence. But pay attention, each lesson is a piece of a bigger puzzle. Only when you understand all of them does the emptiness begin to make sense, and the wound finally find space to heal. Stay with me until the end of this video. The person you were before the pain will be left behind, and a much stronger version will rise in your place. The illusion of emotional ownership. Nothing and no one belongs to you. Do you believe someone is yours? This is one of the greatest illusions that fuels emotional suffering. Stoicism invites us to question this deeply rooted idea. We don't own people. We don't control what comes or what goes. Everything we have, including relationships, is temporary, borrowed from life. Epictetus warns us firmly, never say about anything, "I have lost it," but instead say, "I have returned it." This simple shift in perception holds the power to free your mind. When you believe you've lost something, you suffer. But when you understand that you merely returned what was never yours, you find peace. This is where true detachment begins. It's the core of Stoic philosophy, accepting impermanence without losing your serenity. How many times have you clung to someone as if they were your only source of happiness? You build expectations, give yourself away, idealize, and when the relationship ends, it feels like a part of you was torn out. But the truth is, nothing external can complete what you have yet to recognize within yourself. That's the Stoic view, firm yet compassionate. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Love only what fate brings you. That is enough." This isn't about resignation. It's about emotional wisdom. Stoic philosophy teaches us that we don't own others. We're only responsible for our own reactions. We suffer not because of the person's absence, but because of the meaning we projected onto them. And here's the shift. Detachment isn't about cold distance. It's about understanding that love doesn't mean possession. When you accept that nothing is truly yours, you stop resisting life and begin to flow with it. So, breathe, look at the pain you feel, and ask yourself, was this really mine? Or was it just another attempt to fill something only your own soul can heal? This is the first key. Without it, no other Stoic lesson on detachment will work. Now that you understand what lies beneath attachment, answer this honestly. Are you ready to take this first step toward your emotional freedom? Then write just one word in the comments right now: Stoic. This word is your anchor, your choice, your turning point. And I'll know you're part of the group that doesn't run from pain, but transforms it into wisdom. This is more than a comment. It's the beginning of your rebuilding. Accepting what's beyond your control is the first step toward peace. Are you fighting against something that was never in your hands? Maybe you're trying to understand why someone left, why they changed, or why they didn't meet your expectations. But the truth, harsh and freeing at the same time, is this: you were never in control of any of that. And Stoicism teaches that this is exactly where peace begins. Epictetus, one of the pillars of Stoic philosophy, said, "Some things are up to us and some things are not." This simple sentence separates chaos from clarity. A Stoic knows how to distinguish what can be changed from what must be accepted. Trying to control what lies beyond your reach is like trying to stop the wind with your bare hands. You only exhaust yourself, frustrate yourself, and slowly break from within. How many times have you tried to force someone to love you back, or spent sleepless nights trying to make sense of behavior that never did? This inner resistance, this need for control, is what fuels anxiety, fear, and suffering. What Stoicism proposes is not defeat, but intelligent surrender. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it's beyond your control, let it go. If it's within your power, act with virtue. You can't control the words that were never said, the feelings that faded, or the decisions made without you, but you can control how you respond to all of it. Your freedom is born in the very moment you fully accept that the other person is free, and so are you. Acceptance is not resignation. It's freedom from the useless weight of resistance. It's telling yourself, this isn't up to me, but my response is, and within that response lies your stoic strength. So stop swimming against the current. Let life take what needs to go, not as a victim, but as someone who understands the essence of stoic wisdom. Peace begins when you stop trying to control the uncontrollable. Now that you've released the illusion of ownership and accepted what can't be changed, you're ready for the next step, turning inward. If this video has begun to bring you clarity, strength, or peace, leave a like now as a sign that you're choosing to keep walking this path of transformation, and subscribe to the channel, because here, every new video is a solid step on your journey towards self-mastery and emotional freedom. You help me keep going, and in return, I'll keep showing up with wisdom that is real, practical, and timeless. That's our Stoic exchange. That's our path. Redirect your focus. You need to become the center of your own life again. How long have you lived for someone who's already gone? When we become emotionally attached, we stop existing as the main character in our own lives and become a supporting role in someone else's story. Stoicism invites us to reverse that pattern, to look inward and reclaim what's been abandoned, yourself. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the life of each person is what their thoughts make of it. If you wake up thinking about the absence, fall asleep with longing, and live waiting for a response that never comes, your life is revolving around emptiness. And this is where the Stoic does something different. They choose to reinvest their energy where it truly matters, in themselves. This shift in focus isn't selfish. It's emotional survival. It's the moment you ask yourself, what am I failing to build within myself while trying to understand someone else? Seneca said, part of the healing is the desire to be healed, and redirecting your focus is that desire turned into action. Start with small steps. Take care of your body again. Clean and organize your space. Rebuild your routine. Revisit activities you used to enjoy before the relationship. Set new goals, even if they seem small. Every step you take toward yourself weakens the invisible ties that keep you stuck in the past. Stoic philosophy teaches that discipline is a form of self-love. When you structure your days, set boundaries, and act with intention, you're telling yourself, I matter, and that changes everything. So pause for a moment and reflect. Where is your attention right now? On what was lost, or on what can still be rebuilt? Becoming the center of your own life again is a radical act of courage, and it's with that inner strength that you'll finally be ready to apply the real, practical lessons of emotional detachment. The first of those lessons, breaking free from the most dangerous illusion of all, the idealization of the person you still carry in your heart. Break the idealization. See the person as they truly are, not as you wanted them to be. Do you miss the person or the idealized version you created of them? This is one of the most uncomfortable and liberating questions in Stoic philosophy. A Stoic doesn't cling to imagined versions of others. They see with clarity, without illusions. And when it comes to emotional detachment, that clarity is everything. To idealize is to feed an emotional ghost. You don't miss what truly was, you miss what could have been. You romanticize the good moments, ignore the red flags, turn flaws into charm. You build a fiction and get trapped in it. The more you idealize, the further you drift from reality and from your own peace. Seneca warns us, we are more often dragged down by imagination than by reality. Stoic philosophy teaches us to cultivate discernment, to see things as they are, not as we wish they were. That takes courage. It means admitting that maybe that person was never capable of giving you what you truly deserved. And more, it means realizing you stayed not out of love, but out of fear. Fear of facing the emptiness. So do this Stoic exercise right now. Close your eyes and think about that person. Recall something you once romanticized. Now ask yourself honestly, did that really happen, or did I create it? Epictetus said, it's not things that disturb us, but our opinion about them. You're not suffering from what happened, but from how you interpreted it. When you break the idealized narrative, you begin to see with the eyes of reason and heal with the eyes of the soul. Want to go deeper? Write a letter, not to send, but to reveal the truth to yourself. Describe who this person truly was, their behaviors, their patterns, their flaws. No bitterness, no filters, just like a Stoic, objective, honest, awake. Breaking the idealization is choosing to stop loving a ghost so you can finally see yourself again. It's the first act of real freedom, and once that illusion dissolves, space opens for something new. The rebuilding of your mind, your routine, and your habits, where the next lesson begins. Create new habits and routines to reprogram your mind and neutralize longing. You want to forget someone, but your days still revolve around their memory. You wake up to the same songs, walk past the same places, mentally replay the same conversations. As long as your routine stays the same, your mind will stay stuck in the same place. That's why the Stoic consciously chooses to break the cycles that feed attachment. Stoicism teaches that your environment shapes your thoughts, and that action is the ally of healing. Marcus Aurelius reinforces this with wisdom. The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts, but what many fail to realize is that thoughts are shaped by the habits we repeat without noticing. Every small automatic behavior, checking your phone, hoping for a message, listening to your shared playlist, postponing personal goals, strengthens the tie to the past. And here's the truth. It's not enough to want to forget. You have to replace. The Stoic doesn't stop at reflection. He takes action, and so can you. Choose a new path to walk. Change the time you wake up. Create a morning ritual with silence, reading, and movement. Start something that demands your attention and brings you back to the present moment. Epictetus said, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish. In other words, starting over requires humility. You might feel awkward doing something new, but it's in that discomfort that emotional reprogramming begins. Start small. Replace 10 minutes of scrolling with 10 minutes of Stoic journaling. Trade the search for answers about them for a deeper search within yourself. Turn a lonely night into a moment of rebuilding. Reading, meditation, study, writing. Every time you repeat a new habit, you send a message to your brain, I am moving forward. And over time, that breaks the pattern of longing. Reprogramming your mind is an act of silent resistance, and when you build new habits, you also build a new version of yourself, stronger, more centered, more free. And from that new foundation, pain can finally become purpose, and that is the next lesson. Turn pain into purpose. Use what you felt to grow and inspire. The pain you feel right now can be the beginning of something powerful if you allow it. In Stoicism, suffering isn't seen as the enemy, but as a hidden teacher, a tool for transformation. The Stoic doesn't run from pain. He faces it, examines it, understands it, and molds it into strength. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The obstacle in the path becomes the path." That sentence has the power to flip your mental switch. Are you hurting? Use it. Did you feel rejected? Use it. Did you fall? Use it. Stoic philosophy teaches that every challenge carries the seed of inner growth. But to unlock it, you must stop asking, why did this happen to me? And start reflecting, what can I build with this? You don't have to go out and teach others or speak eloquently, but you can write about what you feel. You can turn your experience into art, into insight, into strength to help someone going through the same thing. You can use what hurt as raw material for your best version. Seneca said, fire tests gold as adversity tests the man. Pain, when it's not denied, turns into clarity. It shows you what you tolerated out of loneliness. It reveals where you abandon yourself. It exposes the gaps in your identity. And in that recognition, a new path is born. You can make this a period or a new paragraph. You can shut yourself off or open space for a greater personal mission. Ask yourself now, what is this pain trying to teach me? How can I honor what I felt without drowning in it? Stoic philosophy is practical, so apply it. Write down 3 real lessons this experience has taught you. Think about how you can use it to strengthen your life, your relationships, your mindset. Remind yourself that you're alive, and living also means losing. Turning pain into purpose is what separates the Stoic from the victim, and it's with that mindset that you begin to shield yourself from emotional relapses, from the back and forth, from disguised dependence. Because the next lesson is clear. Protecting your peace requires boundaries. Set clear boundaries and protect yourself from emotional relapses and subtle contact. Are you truly letting go or just disguising your attachment with silent relapses? Emotional relapses don't always show up as calls or meetups. Sometimes they appear as a quiet scroll through social media, a quick glance at someone's status, or a memory you silently nurture. Stoicism teaches that there's no emotional freedom without mental vigilance. Every emotional access you allow, even the smallest, reactivates bonds that should be dissolving. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes stronger by resisting what weakens it. But before you resist, you need to recognize where your vulnerabilities lie. Are you still holding on to photos, old messages? Do you catch yourself wondering if they still think about you? These are tiny cracks where pain slips back in. The Stoic understands it's not just about moving on. It's about actively protecting the path forward. You need to set clear boundaries, not as punishment, but as a radical act of self-care. Stoic philosophy teaches that the mind must be guarded as if it were a fortress, and every fortress has its walls, its limits, and its watchmen. Here are practical, urgent, Stoic actions. Mute or block them on social media. It's protection, not immaturity. Delete conversations that fuel longing. Holding on to them is holding on to the tie. Avoid planned accidents. Stopping by where they might be isn't coincidence, it's self-deception. Monitor your mental language. Every time you think, "I just wonder if they're okay," ask, "And me, am I okay?" Distance yourself from friends who keep bringing up memories. This isn't rejection, it's reconstruction. Epictetus said, "Freedom begins the moment we stop wanting what is beyond our control." And when you keep looking for ways to reconnect with someone who hurt you or left, you're surrendering your freedom all over again. Emotional relapse also happens in thought. That's why a powerful Stoic exercise is conscious substitution. When the thought arises, replace the memory with a mantra, something like, "I won't abandon myself for someone who already left me." Setting boundaries isn't about pushing someone away. It's about returning to yourself. It's declaring that you choose your peace, your rebuilding, your presence. It's knowing that certain kinds of access are incompatible with healing. And when that protection becomes consistent, the next step becomes inevitable. Disconnecting from everything that still ties you to the past, even digital triggers. Disconnect from digital triggers. Stop feeding memories that keep you stuck. You say you want to forget, but your daily actions contradict that desire. Have you noticed how many times a day you feed your own longing? Social media has become an emotional trap disguised as entertainment. A single notification can reopen old wounds. A viewed story, an old like, a photo the algorithm insists on showing you. All of it reactivates the bond you're trying to break. Stoicism teaches the mind must be protected with the same care given to a sacred temple. And the temple of your mind is currently being invaded by digital distractions and memories that weaken your inner peace. Epictetus said, "If you wish to be free, detach from what enslaves you." You may not be emotionally attached to the person anymore, but to the traces they left in your digital routine. And it's not just about unfollowing, it's about stopping the indirect search. The profiles, the old conversations, the videos, the playlists, the saved moments. Every click toward the past is a step backward in your healing. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Everything that happens to us is material for our mind. What we do with it is up to us." The Stoic turns everything into an opportunity, and this is your moment to turn digital temptation into mental resilience. Start with actions that are both objective and symbolic. Turn off notifications. Don't let old memories catch you off guard. Remove access, mute or block, not as revenge, but as a shield. Delete conversations, media, photos. Holding on to memories feeds the illusion of permanence. Redefine your algorithm. Interact with content that lifts you, educates you, strengthens you. Create a Stoic digital zone. Follow profiles, channels, and pages that feed reason, reflection, and self-awareness. And here's a simple yet powerful exercise. For the next 7 days, every time you feel the urge to look something up about that person, write the impulse down, name it, acknowledge it, and choose to do something else instead. Read, move your body, write. This intentional substitution is pure Stoic practice, conscious action against emotional impulse. Seneca said, "The soul becomes great by despising small things," and that includes clicks, searches, and harmless habits that quietly keep you chained to what's already over. You can't move forward while dragging the digital baggage of the past. Disconnecting cuts off the oxygen to the memory, and only when the memory stops being fed does the longing begin to lose power. It's in that empty space that you'll be able to reconnect with what truly matters, your identity without the shadow of anyone else. And that is exactly where the next lesson begins. Rebuild your identity. Outside the relationship, who are you without this person? Do you know who you are? Without that story, that bond, that us? Often, the pain of detachment isn't about the person's absence. It's about the confusion that remains when they're gone. You don't just miss the other person, you miss yourself. It's as if you've forgotten how to live without that role, without that emotional function. And this is where Stoicism becomes a map for internal reconstruction. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. If your thoughts are still tied to the image of who you were in that relationship, then your freedom is too. To be stoic is to reclaim ownership of yourself, to realize that you are not just someone who loved or suffered. You are much more than a chapter that ended. You are the author of a story that continues. Rebuilding your identity is a call to return home. It's asking yourself, what did I leave behind while I was in that relationship? What dreams did I put on hold? Which parts of myself did I abandon to fit in or to please? Epictetus said, you become what you cultivate within yourself. And if you don't consciously cultivate a new version of yourself, the space left by the relationship will be filled with longing, anxiety, and emotional dependence. The Stoic acts before that happens. Here are real practices to begin this rebuilding. Make a list of forgotten passions, activities, or goals. Explore new environments where no one knows you by your past. Create a fresh routine with habits that reflect who you're becoming. Write a personal manifesto. Who do you want to be moving forward? What values will you live by? What kind of peace do you want to cultivate? Seneca said, if you don't know to which port you're sailing, no wind is favorable. This is especially true of your identity. As long as you keep looking back, you'll keep defining yourself by what's missing. But when you turn inward, you remember that you are whole. Even without anyone by your side, you're not reinventing yourself to prove anything to anyone. You're simply returning to what was always yours, yourself. Rebuilding your identity isn't about erasing the past. It's about recognizing that it doesn't define your worth. It's the action of someone who chooses to live with presence, with purpose, with awareness. This is the point where Stoicism stops being theory and becomes practice. Because true detachment isn't just letting the other person go. It's stepping into the space they left with strength and dignity. Conscious solitude, silence as a sacred space for inner reconstruction. It's no longer about forgetting someone. Now, it's about finding yourself. After the bond is broken, after the pain has been faced, and the habits rebuilt, a quiet moment arrives. A space many fear, solitude. But the Stoic knows that solitude is not absence. It is full presence with oneself. Many confuse solitude with loneliness, but loneliness is the emptiness of not having the other. Solitude is the wholeness of being complete, even when no one is by your side. It's there, in the silence between the past and the future, that true reconstruction begins. And if you've made it this far, it's because you're ready to inhabit this space with awareness. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Within you is a source of strength that will never dry up if you learn how to reach it." That source is accessed when you stop running from yourself, when you no longer need distraction to numb the longing, when you can sit in silence, take a deep breath, and realize, I'm here, and that is enough. Stoic philosophy has always taught that the mind must be trained to be at ease with itself. It's in solitude that clarity arises, values are affirmed, and thoughts align with action. But it's also in solitude that the final ghosts may appear, memories, doubts, moments of nostalgia. And that's why silence must be inhabited with awareness, not resistance. Here is a powerful, simple Stoic practice. Choose 10 minutes of your day to do absolutely nothing. Sit, breathe, don't run, don't think about the other person, just be there. Observe the discomfort, observe the relief, then write, what did silence show me today? Epictetus said, the free person is the one who lives content with themselves. You are becoming that person, because now you no longer depend on answers, on returns, or on distractions. You are training your mind to be enough for itself. and that is power. Conscious solitude is not the end of the process. It's the beginning of a life where you are whole before connecting with anyone else. And it is with that inner solidity that you will now move toward the final point of this Stoic journey. Stop looking for who you were. Become who you were born to be. After the pain fades, many people try to return to who they were before, but the Stoic doesn't go back. The Stoic moves forward because they understand that no experience comes to take us back to where we started. Every loss, every rupture, every emotional detachment is a calling, not to rebuild the old, but to create something new. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Life is not what happens to you, but how you respond to it." And now that you've faced your pain, set boundaries, shattered illusions, built new habits, and reconnected with yourself, you stand before one final Stoic choice. Will you cling to the past, trying to recover an old version of yourself? Or will you accept the inevitable transformation and become someone greater, calmer, more aware? Stoicism is a philosophy of action, not nostalgia, and Epictetus reinforces this when he says, "Don't seek for events to happen as you wish, but wish for them to happen as they do, and your life will flow smoothly." What happened, happened. You no longer need to understand why they left or what you could have done differently. You need to accept that everything that led you here was necessary to prepare you for what comes next. And what comes next? A new identity, not defined by someone's absence, but by the presence of virtues within you. A life guided not by lack, but by awareness. Relationships formed not out of need, but out of choice. That is the freedom the Stoic seeks. To feel whole without needing someone else to feel complete. To be strong without needing to appear invulnerable. To remain calm even when the world around you is loud. Seneca said, "Difficulty comes to awaken, not to discourage." You have been awakened, and now there is no going back. The suffering you endured was not a punishment. It was a teacher. The absence you felt was not a curse. It was an opening, a space for you to finally see yourself as you never had before. Whole, capable, stoic. So stop trying to be who you were before the pain. That version of you served its purpose. Now, it's time to live as someone who finally understands. There is no real loss when what you gain is yourself. What if true detachment wasn't about forgetting, but about becoming someone who no longer needs to remember? You didn't make it this far by accident. Maybe you're at your emotional rock bottom. Maybe you're just tired of repeating the same cycles. But one thing is certain, you're ready. Ready to stop chasing after someone who's not coming back. Ready to get out of waiting mode. Ready to reclaim control over your life, your mind, your peace. Stoicism doesn't promise you'll never feel pain again, but it offers something far more powerful. The ability to feel without drowning, to remember without breaking, to move forward, not by defeating the past, but by integrating it as part of your strength. Epictetus taught us, it's not things that disturb us, but our judgments about them. And if you change the judgment, you change everything. Now, I want to ask you something. If you could go back to the exact moment when the pain began, with the wisdom you have now, what would you do differently? This question isn't meant to reopen wounds. It's meant to transform, because the answer you give now is what will guide your next steps. And if you made it to the end of this video with focus, with courage, with an open heart, then you are no longer the person you were before, and you never will be again. Write a single word in the comments that symbolizes your decision moving forward. It could be rebirth, freedom, enough, or simply stoic. That shows me you stayed until the end and that you're committed to your own rebuilding. Leave a like if this content touched something inside you. Share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe, because this is just the beginning. I'll see you in the next video. Stronger, wiser, more stoic.